Hello everyone, Ceri the Crafter here, that's C-E-R-I the Crafter, and today I'm here with a big video. Right, before we get to the get-go, I would be very surprised if I'm going to be able to edit this down to an hour, so just know, make yourself a nice cup of tea, nice cup of coffee, grab a couple of chalky biscuits and sit down. So, I'm combining a couple of things. This is a video going to launch on the 1st of October 2025. And it's the colour combo video. Now, I've been running colour combo for 4 years. In the last few years, I've been running it with Paola Keane and Estella Banks, who have helped me, because this is a monstrous job, which is a wonderful monstrous job, but it's a monstrous job to coordinate. In a nutshell, subscribers are canvassed a couple of periods in the year for color combinations. They suggest three colors they'd like to see combined. Then to that you have an optional black, white and a metallic, and this year I added a mark making element. So let's look at the paints I'm using, purely because then I can get that out of the way and get on with it. So we have white. Now I'm using this, although this is nearly out, so I'm going to be using this white. I've got black. This is just regular Mars black. The metallic is going to be this gold, which is one of my favorite golds. The colors are purple. This is a fluid purple. It's got no label on it. I should imagine it's possibly golden. A good segue. The next color is goldenrod. This is as close as I can get to the color goldenrod. Okay, now as I say every time I do a colour combo, do not rush out and buy the colours. There is a list of the colours on my website and also on Makers of Mixed Media Art and Artists Facebook group. I'll put a link there should you wish to go through and join that. Totally free of charge. Great loving community. You just have to answer the 2 or 3 questions to get in, and it's launched there. Plus it's launched on my own Facebook group each month anyway. There'll be a postcard with colour swatches on it so you can match your colour to it. And the last colour is green olive, or as I'm calling it, olive green. So those are the colours we're going to use. So let's put those to one side. Now traditionally I do a project where I end up with one art piece that is utilised these. It's going to be different this month. So some of you may or may not know that last month, or was it this month? It might even have been this month. I created all of these, which are now images on my website, which are how I'm advertising what my foam stamp designs are. So every time I launch a new stamp, I need to create one of these. Now, I didn't make a video on how to do these, and some of you were a little upset with me that I didn't do that. In a nice way, joking wise, they say, Ceri, next time you do them, because of course every launch you have to do them, they said, can you show how to do them? Yes, I am going to show you how to do them. So before we let's go on to the next bit, let me just explain what these are. I need to create 7 tags, because there's 7 new foam stamps being launched today, although they need to be slightly different than each other. When I cut out my tags for something like this, I use a die. This is a die that was part of a nesting set of tag dies that I bought about 20 years ago, so don't even bother asking me where it's from. I don't even have the packaging, but it's like if I'm teaching a workshop where we're doing tags, I like to make sure they're all perfectly cut and uniform so all of the students have exactly the same product. This is the paper I'm using for these. It's a mixed media cardstock. That is everything, hopefully, that you will need to know about this paper. I will still back these, even though they're not being used to journal or something or anything, to be honest. I may in future use them for something, so I always like to do the backs after I've finished the tags because they can get messy. Right, so we now know I'm making 7 tags. We know I'm doing the colour combo. Let me introduce you to my original product, which was a stencil, and the new foam stamp, and it will all begin to make sense now. So I had a range of stencils. This was Tribal Tendency Tribal Wallpaper Style 1. So I took this and I created a foam stamp from it. So this will be tribal wallpaper, tribal foam stamp style 1. I think that's as close as I can get to the name at the moment. So you can see where the inspiration came from, and we're going to be making the tag for that one. Number 2 is tribal wallpaper style 2. And here is the stamp. Now I did tweak this slightly. I wanted to make sure that I have an element. It's not the same size nor is the other one. And I wanted to do it so that it complements the stencil. So if you already got the stencil, the stamp, you can just stamp in a contrasting color or use on another project that has this in it, and it will tie it all together. This was tribal wallpaper number 3. And here, as you can see, I've written them on the back, so I remember, because I'm notorious for getting things wrong. So this is the foam stamp, tribal foam stamp style 3. As you can see, I've made it smaller because all of these are roughly able to be used in an ATC size. So for me, that was something that was a good factor to use in that size. Now we're tribal wallpaper number 4. Excuse the use stencils. Obviously I designed them, but I also use them. I made a larger version this time, and I used a circle from it, but I actually took that and put it into the middle as well. I thought this was a really nice complementary piece. So if you've got this subtly in the background and then you stamp with the contrasting color, you would have a really nice impact with number 4. Number 5. Now number 5, this is tribal wallpaper style number 5. And I didn't want to make it exact. So what I did is I took elements from it. So this design is as close as you're going to get to something like that in there. But this does not exist on here, but all of the elements on here do exist in this. So I really like that. There was something about this. I think it's the curve of it. It just really appealed to me. So we'll be doing that one. That's number 5. Number 6 tribal wallpaper was this one. And I almost duplicated it at the same size, almost. It's marginally smaller, probably by about ½ an inch. But that's fine because, again, it complements this design. And then I had Tribal Tendencies, which was part of the tribal wallpaper range, but it was the one that initiated everything. So this was like almost a smorgasbord of all the designs in the tribal wallpapers. And I thought, what would I like to pull out of this? And it was this. So I pulled this out and I thought, you know what, that makes a really nice, interesting design. You could use it as a shield. You could use it as an element, as a border. It depends on how much you stamped of it. So that's what we're working with today, guys. So any stencils you've seen here and any foam stamps you've seen in this video, in the description box below, at the very bottom, there are, oh God, what's it called? Shop stencils, quick view, shop foam stamp, quick view. Those will take you through to my website, which is just all of the pictures of the products, hence where the tags are. If you click on that image that you like, it will take you through to the PM Artist website for further information and purchasing. And that will go with anything I've designed. Now, just a word warning. These are made upon request in Texas, USA. It's the only place on the planet you can get my foam stamps and stencil designs currently. They are shipped from there. So just know that's all you need to know. So today, the other thing I'm going to need to do is something botanical, which is the shape for today. So I pulled out 2 foam stamps, which they were launched a while ago. This is my hydrangea stamp, and I want to say this might be green maiden fern, these elements. So this will be my mark making element in the background. Now, I've got my 5x7 gel press. I've also got my 10x8. Is it 10x8? I think this is 10x8. I get a bit lost with figures. Oh, good grief, Ceri, you got it right. So it's 10x8. So we're going to attempt in this video to make 8 journal cards, or 8 tags, sorry, not journal cards, tags. Each of them will be utilizing the colors that we have in Color Combo. I'm then going to use part of the stenciling in the background, but the feature must be, because this is a product image, this needs to be front and center, probably stamped in black, if I know me, because it's here to advertise the product. So thought that'd be an interesting challenge for both you and me. So first thing I need to do is I need to get some detail down on these. Now they're not all going to look the same, but I am going to start by picking pieces of paint up and putting it out on this plate. Now the black and white we have can also be used to add tint or shade to your colours. So if you want your colour lighter, you can add white to it. You want it darker, you add black to it. Or you want to dull down the vibrancy. So I'm just going to come in and just really quickly pick up some paint on tags. Now I am likely to get very, very painty in this. Like my fingers are bound to get messy. I don't mind. That's just the way this is going to go. Now, for speed, I am going to get all of these pretty much done with the same colours to start with, and then we'll vary it from there. Let's just take that a little bit by there. So, this yellow looks a bit more ochre to me than actually looks yellow rod. I might pull in another yellow that's a little brighter later on. But when I matched it to the screen that I had, this was the closest match I had in my mix. Now, of course, with a lot of colours, you can mix your own colours. When it comes to yellow, because it's a primary, you can't make yellow. You basically use whatever yellow you've got and maybe moderate it slightly to make it more the colour you want it to be. Purple is obviously a case of red and blue. So two primary colours there, which will give you purple. And then it's up to you as to what the intensity of the purple is and whether it's going to be a blue purple or red purple. This looked like quite... Ooh, what sort of colour would I call this? It was almost like a royal purple as far as I was concerned. It had that feel to it anyway. All right, just get this down. Once I finish with a colour, I do have options to clean up the plate with old book pages, which I do a lot, or over there is an art journal open to my side where I can just clean off a brayer if I need to. Let's just stick this in this one, because we're getting to the end. Now remember, I'm doing 8 tags, I only need 7. So I'm not going to get tied up with doing a perfect amount of anything. So I've got this on the go. This I think will become my cleanup tag by the looks of it, because I don't want to add more paint on here if I've already got 7 tags done. And I think we can just brayer that over there. I say it's a cleanup one, but I know half the time I get lost with which the cleanup one is in the overall picture. Right, so we've got our first layer on. Now, there will be some times when I'm going to have to stop and put a hairdryer on these, or I will never get them done. I am going to pull in a different yellow, because I think this, to me, it looked yellow, goldenrod in there, but I think I may be adding some of this to this as we go along, just to enhance it slightly. Right, so I've got yellow. I think the next thing I want to do is come in with the olive green, or the green olive, as it were. I'm squirting it out onto my 5x7 because I personally like using my 5x7 as a palette. Now, I have an 8x10 plate here, gel press. However, you will note I'm not using the whole gel press. I don't need to. I'm just using the bit that I need, but I could have done it all on a 5x7, but I just wanted to do what I could where I could. And this would make it quicker for me. Now I'm adding bits of green on here. Remember, if you've ever seen me work, you'll know for me, it's layers, layers, layers. So you know what's coming up. Let's bring in that side. So I hope you're doing well. It's been a bit of a frantic week here. I'm doing a longer project, which is, what is it? It's an altered book into a scrap journal, and that's sort of taking a huge amount of time out of my day, to be honest, at the moment. So it's wonderful, and I'm getting there, but I've done 4 videos so far, and I think we're going to have to go to 6 videos to get the cover done and actually to get everything finished off. So it's interesting. It is interesting. Right, I think that's all right. Let's come in with this one again. Pick up a little more interest there. That's good. A bit of that there. Yellow. So this time I'm not going to put it on here. I'm going to put it directly on there because I'm going to do something that I call kissing the plate. Ooh, or spitting on the plate apparently. So I'm going to braid this out. Now I know this is going to pick up bits of the colour. See, just like that. And what I'm trying to do is give myself kind of a grungy look to things. And believe me, it's all about, well, you know by now, my saying is trust the process, trust the process, trust the process. Believe me, you're going to have to trust the process on this one. Because if you don't, you're going to get sad. You're going to think, oh gosh, I'm never going to pull this off. Trust me, you will. Just keep going. Just remember at the end of the day, guys, when you're creating stuff, it's paper, it's paint, it's just your time. If you really, really hate it, I would suggest doing 1 or 2 or 3 things. First, put the piece by and come back to it maybe a week or 2's time and analyse it and go, what did you not like about it? Does it just need another layer of something? Is it really, really that bad? And you'll probably find that after a few days, it won't look as bad at all. A bit down there. I would also say if you really end up hating anything you create, which hopefully you never will, my main thing is you can always cover it in more paint, cover it in white and start again. All you're doing is thickening up the layers. Right, so we're at a point where that's actually quite good. Let's just get this on here. Now, I'm very conscious that we could get dark because we're looking at dark green, we're looking at a deep yellow, we're looking at a dark purple, we're looking at black. These colours could get really dark and I want them to stay fresh. So just lay that, let's take these off. See, these will just end up as painty papers. Now, I think at this point, some of these look like, I like the way that's already textured in there. I think at this point I need to stop the video and get these dry, because if I start adding more colour onto the top of these, what will happen is it will start to pull the paint back off because the layers of paper are not fully dried. And I think the next thing I want to do is I want to come in with the paper technique I use to put some white on them. So back in a second, I'll be back in 2. So here you go. That didn't take long at all. Just enough to get them dry enough to the touch. They're probably not dry all the way through to the core, but that's fine because we're going to be putting more wet paint on them as well. But also by drying them, it sort of flattens them out a bit because you'll find that they do curl slightly. Right, so we're going to come in with a technique that if you watch me, you're going to be way familiar with this. And what I do is that's just ugly. I don't know, I was watching Eddie Riaz the other day. He was doing, what was he doing? He was doing painty tissue papers. And it's funny because he went, why is my white always messy? And I was like, that's exactly what I suffer from, Eddie. Right, so I braid out the white acrylic paint and I'm going to come in. I'm going to pick it up. Now, this is just baking parchment. Okay, I get it on a roll from my cook shop and I want to come in and just put some strategic places on here. So it'll give me areas in which I will pick up and put down something that will contrast. See, just to give me enough. Try not to get it on your hand. Reload that and bring the next one in. Now I'm also quite conscious I don't want these all looking the same because they're all going to be on the same website. which is my own website page. And I want to make sure that it doesn't look like I've done the same thing 7 times, which I kind of am doing, but I'm hoping as we move on with them, they will turn into different designs. I'm putting onto my gel plate just to hold it in place, because I have found that it really does benefit me to do that. I must remember the mark making element too. I've kind of forgotten about that before now. Okay. They're all getting interest. There's another reason I'm doing all of these tags at the same time. Just if anyone out there is wondering as far as the business side of it goes, because even though they're not sold as a set, they're sold individually, because they have a similar look, or the images will, they'll be viewed as a collection. And that's important for me as a product designer, because it reminds people that these are not a one-off. They are part of a collection, and they would all work with each other because they're all in the same style. I think that's probably the best way to put this. There you go. Hopefully I've got the right amount of paint here. I'm terrible at putting too much paint out, and then that's probably why I have so many painty papers, because I'm constantly doing things like this. You know, I need to clean up the plate, need to clean this up. It's not the last time we'll be using white, I'm almost certain. In fact, I can guarantee it won't be the last time I use white, because I use white quite often. I seem to have lost one. Oh, there's 2 there, that's why. Now, if you do this technique, I would say there'll come a point when the paper doesn't want to pick up paint anymore. It's almost as if it reaches its painty saturation point, if there is such a thing. Right, and I keep all of these little bits of paper. I let them dry, and they also get used in collage. Okay, I've got this mark making tool that I made in a video. If I can remember where the video is, I'll link it in the description box below. And although the mark making is supposed to be botanical this month, I can do any other mark making on here at the same time. This is a really fluid paint. I don't work with overly fluid paints often, so I'm not sure how much to put on the plate. And I think what I want to do is just pick up some of this. To be careful, because these are not going to dry very quickly, because I've got quite a thickness of paint. And I think that will, I like this colour combination actually. That's one thing I've actually really enjoyed about Colour Combo. Oh, and I forgot to say too, if you pop across to my website, and I will put a link to it, there is actually a whole page dedicated to Colour Combo. And there's a brief history of what Colour Combo is at the top. And then there's an image of every single colour combo I have done over the 4 years. And what you can do is you can go on, tap the image, and the image will take you through to the relevant YouTube video that was a tutorial on how it was made. I would also suggest, if you really like that, then there's a hashtag or two. Oh God, what is it? I think it's hashtag #ArtyFun. And I think the other one is hashtag Colour Combo or Makers Colour Combo. It's on the website. You'll see in the description, it'll tell you what the different hashtags are. If you put those hashtags into your social media or put them into Google or anything like that, it'll bring up all of the other art pieces that other people have made over the years. So there's lots and lots of inspiration. And there's been some amazing makes. And even though I work in paints and papers, a lot of people have worked in fabrics. They've worked, well, I know Becky Boken every month does one in coloured beads that matches the colour combo, which I think is wonderful. Let's do a diagonal. I don't normally do a diagonal. All right, I want to come in this one. I think I want it to be a grid. So yeah, very interesting watching what other people have done. There's some very, very talented people out there, as we all know. And I love what they've done. Right. Now, I definitely, if I didn't say definitely enough, I'm saying it now. I need to pause because, first of all, these purples need to dry. This needs to be cleaned up or I will have it on everything. So I'll be back in 2 seconds. So everything's nice and dry now, and we've had a nice clean up. So we've got them all ready to go. Now, I want to come in now and I want to add another lighter layer. Now, I don't necessarily want to do white because I've got a plan of what I want to do with the white later on. So I'm going to come in and I want to mix a bit of the white with a bit of the yellow. I just want to create a tint of this colour. Just to every layer, let's see if I can put it here. Let's look at this one. So every time you create a layer, it pushes the previous layers into the background, which gives it layers of interest. Now, I know where I'm going in this design for once. Normally I do them and go, oh, what will be the next? But I know eventually I've got the stamp to go on here. And I also know I want to put on the stencil as well, just as a hint. So to someone who's purchasing it, they would realize, oh, there's a stencil that complements the stamp. That's the business person in me. So I'm going to do possibly about a 50-50 mix. Got a little palette knife on the go. I think that's subtle enough. I don't want it so subtle it disappears. Now it's a nice fresh colour. Right, so I'm going to come back in with that technique that I had before, brayer stuck, where I'm kissing the plate. And I'm just barely laying this down. Like just that sort of stuff. I don't mind there's a line there. I might utilise that line in a moment. See, it's just pushed everything into the background. Really liking this colour actually. I need to remember that. And again, pick up a little bit there. I'd quite like a little bit there. Okay, I like that and still see the green. There's no rules to colour combo, but there is some serious guidelines. The aim is to create something where the 3 chosen colours are still dominating or predominant. They need to be seen in the finished piece is what I'm getting at. I like the way that went on a diagonal. That was unintentional. So I'm going to have to do a little bit of a check in a while to make sure that everything that's supposed to be on here is on here before I do the final bits, because the final bits I'm going to be doing are the black and white, and black and white, remember, are optionals. So yes, I can use them and I intend using them because they'll give me the contrast I'm looking for. A little bit more over there. That's better. Gosh, it's got dark outside. Hopefully it's not affecting the way this video is being viewed. If it's gone a bit darker on the screen, I'm judging that my iPad is likely to compensate for it. Yeah, it's gone really dark. I think we're in for, looks like we're in for a storm, people. We're in for a storm. Right, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Yes, we do have the right amount. I thought I'd lost one somewhere along the way. So I'm not overly bothered that that's there. As I said, I'm going to be doing the backs of these anyway. So I'm not going to bother drying these because I don't think, why am I shaking the tube? So this is my favorite metallic currently. I'm open to suggestions if I ever find a new one. I'm going to come in my brayer and brayer this out. So it's reasonably thin on the 5x7. I don't mind as a build up on there because I'm going to be using it a lot. So I'm going to come in and put this down. Now, it says there needs to be botanical on here. It doesn't say the whole thing needs to be covered in botanicals. So I'm going to be interesting where I put things, basically. Actually, I need to go there because I've got a feeling that's where I'm going to be putting the other piece. See, isn't that lovely? I love that. Like a little bit of gold, me. So now you can connect these. When I designed them so that you could slot them together. So when you stamp, you have areas like, if you see there's no pieces there, that's because you could push it in and turn it into that. So that's why that's there. I think on this one, I'm just going to create a repeating design down the side of here. And I don't mind it going off the bottom. This is where I'm trying to give each of the cards, each of the tags, a slight touch of individuality. So if I do this here and come in with this one, and if I bring that over the top, and there you go. These are going to take some drying because the gold is quite thick. Mind you saying that, the gold paint dries, metallic paints dry quickly for me, so I'm quite happy about that. Now, I may be losing, I'd say probably about 50% of this gold when I do the next part of the process, which will be using the stencil. I'm purposely leaving this quite spare because that's where I know I'm going to be stamping, or at least it's my intent to stamp in that area. So see, I can actually link them together to make one entire design. Whenever I create anything artistically, if it was a recipe, I tend to create things that are ingredients, should I say. So you can use them in different ways. I mean, I could have created this in one big block of maidenhair fern or green maiden fern, whatever I called it. However, by doing them in individual pieces, I give myself the option, and we like options. I like options. Right, so they've all got that on. Now I'm going to pause the video here because I've got gold paint. I've got papers I can actually stamp things off. I need to clean off these so that I don't actually waste paint. Also, as soon as you've used a foam stamp for acrylic paint, not so much ink, but acrylic paint, I drop them face down in water so that the paint starts to dissolve off. If you leave the paint dry on one of these, it will seal your stamp. And although you'll be able to use it for painting in the future, you may not be able to use it for ink because it will have had a barrier. It won't be able to absorb the colour. So back in two, guys. All right, all cleaned up, all dried. I'm very happy with how these are going, actually. Just we take a close look before we do the next stage. I love that gold element. It's there. If you look at it at one light, it looks dark. Look at it, another's got that flash of silver, of gold. And I like the way we've got all the colours in here. They're all there. And even though they're beginning to take on their own identity, these tags, they are definitely all of a family. They're all of a group, should we say. Quite like that. It's interesting. Now, my next question is, I was going to do the next bit in white again, but I don't think I want to do it in white. I want to do my stenciling. I think I'm going to take that olive green again. And remember, one of these is spare, so I'm quite happy about that too. I'm going to take the green and I'm going to make it lighter. And I think we're just going to do white and green. Now, I need to make enough of this so that I have enough to stencil all of these. I mean, it's not hugely essential, but I'd rather I did have enough. And if I've got too much, that's fine. As I said, I've got an art journal or other things I can use it up on, and also got a YouTuber paint anyway. So let's put a little bit of green on here. It needs to be green enough that it's visible, but not green enough to be dominant. What I'm trying to do is create a colour that will kind of blend into the background, but not. That makes sense when I do it, I think. See, that's there, but I think it needs a little bit more green. As I said, with colour combo, the black and white are there as optional, but you can also use them to create tints and shades of the colours you're using in the rest of the colour combo. I think that's getting better. As I said, I am looking for subtle, so I think that will work on most of these, to be honest with you. It is going to be a really, really thin layer because I'm going to put it on with a makeup brush through a stencil, which I don't know whether it's something you may have seen before. I do it occasionally. I can't say I do it all the time, but I do it occasionally. So let's bring out the very first one, which will be this one. Now, remember, we've got one spare, so if we mess up, we can mess up. This is Tribal Tendencies, the original design. So I think I just want to put a couple of pieces of this. Now, when I say a makeup brush, it's one of these really dense, bristled makeup brushes. I mean, I could sponge it through, but I'm really enjoying using these. The trick is to only have a little tiny bit on your brush, and a gentle circle motion means that you won't build up too much color or too much paint, and it'll go under the edges or create ridges. So yes, just enough. I want to bring that design down, because remember, it's not about this, it's about the stamp. That's lovely. See, I just want subtle in there. So, and you know I struggle with stuff subtle. Apparently I struggle saying it too. Right, I love this one. When I designed this one, I was playing around with, should I actually make, say, 4 or 5 different versions with these, making petals and things like this. But in the end, I decided not. Don't know why, it was one of those decisions. I was like, that felt too much, a step too far. Right, this one I'm just going to put a little hint of it. That's so little I can hardly see it. As my saying goes, so secret, it's so subtle, it's a secret. Comes to sight when you can't even remember your own thing. But it isn't. I think if I bring it down here as well, Okay, it's in there. I'm liking that. Right, the next one. Ooh, this was another stencil I absolutely loved designing. It's in there. Now, I'm not sure how much of this is being picked up on screen, by the way, so I do apologise if it's not really showing through for you. But it's really showing through for me, so if you were to visit the website and see them when they're finished. Because this video will launch while a lot of you are asleep. Well, that one came out really nice. A lot of you are asleep because I know a lot of my subscribers are in America or Canada. I would probably say the majority of my subscribers are America or Canada. Right, now I want this more there. I will try and get individual circles. Don't necessarily want the pattern covering the whole thing. Actually, I don't mind that bit being used. Maybe that up there. Oops, come on, up you come. Subtle, loving that. I keep saying subtle because it's one of the things I really struggle with. Right, now, I'm going to try and be a bit strategic on this one. This line here, I'm going to try and line it across there. Don't know why, I just am. I think a little bit there. Did that work? It did work. And a little bit down here as well might be useful. This one, maybe just a border down the side. A border down there. I obviously made up far too much paint. That's fine. Paint never gets wasted in my house. There's always something to use it up on. Now, we have a spare. And what I want to do with the spare is I want to do the oval one again. I think this was the one that was least successful when I did the tag. So I want to just try this one again. There you go, that's better to me. So I don't like that bit there. I'll just see if I can really come in. This cloth isn't dirty, it's stained. Now, because this is acrylic, I might be able to move that off there. And that only worked because the paint underneath was dry. Right. So the brush needs to immediately go in water because if it doesn't, it'll seize up and you'll end up ruining your brush. Now I've got 1.5 tons of paint here. Actually, I've got a pot here that is almost the same colour. So I think I'm going to scoop that into there. This is how my nondescript bottles work, guys. I tend to, if I make too much paint, I just bottle it up and use it for something else. I don't want to take the time to paint on other papers today because I need to get this done and edited and uploaded. you go. Live to fight another day. Black in. Now, this is where it gets a bit hairy, because if I do this wrong, I've ruined the tag. Mind you, they are dry. As you saw, I might be able to wipe a little bit off. So I'm going to put it down on my plate, and I'm going to push it down gently so that it almost sticks to the plate, because one thing that could go wrong is this. So if it's raising up from the plate, as I'm lowering the stamp down, it could catch the edge. So I might actually just hold it in place when I do this. So, and I'm going to stamp them on here, but it doesn't necessarily have to always be in the same place. Actually, oh, there's two of these, isn't there? So I'm going to use Mars Black. Now, black dries really, this is really gummy, this black. I don't know why this product is like that. It's not normal. I think it must just be a batch, because mine don't normally do that. Now, I'm not going to roll out too much, because as I said, it dries really quickly. I need a reasonably even coat, but not so thick. Now, the first one is this shield shape. So I'm going to come on, tap it down. Now, I know that in the middle is going to be less, so I'm going to press just in the middle a little bit extra to build up the layer. I don't mind if it's not a perfect image. I'd obviously love it to be absolutely perfect, but I know it's not likely to be. I would like it to be straight if I can get it straight. Put it down, press it in the middle, and gently press your fingers around the edge. I don't bash it. I don't overly squish it. That's lovely. Right, and I think I'm going to do the same thing again over here. And I think I'd like one more there. Right, so that's one of these done. Now we've got a duplicate of this, remember, this one. So I'm just going to come in and do pretty much the same thing on this one. Again, gently press it down. I want to make sure that the stamped image is separate from each other, because I don't want someone to think it's all one piece. Hold that down, just stamp it there. Okay, one of those is going to be fine. This needs to go in water. Right, what's next? Oh, it's the one that's this one. So I'm going to come in, lift up my paint, make sure I can see. Now I can see that they're not completely covered. As I said with all of them, I don't necessarily need it to be a solid image. Put it down, gently press around the edges. Oh, that's lovely. Right, I'm going to leave that as is. I'm not going to add another one. That says exactly what the stamp is. Right, now this is already beginning to dry out. So what's this one? This one is this one. Right, I want some more paint on here. Now I'm stamping with acrylic paint. These work equally well with inks, guys. Absolutely perfectly well with inks. It's just I like using paint. So this I'm thinking is going to be just one image on here. I'm going to look, see if it's on there. Again, try and get it straight, Griffiths. I'm notorious for not getting things straight. Give it even pressure. You can put a stamping block on the back if you want to make sure it's got absolute perfect pressure. Liking that, I am going to put another piece of it down here. And a little bit up there, I feel. I'd like that to have been straight, but there you go. It wouldn't be me if it was straight, would it? In the water. Right, what's this one? Oh, this is the circles one. Right, that's that one. It's a cute little stamp. I'm trying to do them sort of similar to each other for the pure reason that they are a family of stamps. And it's always good to show how a product can be used, which is why I wanted to do the tags in the first place. Liking that. I'm going to have about an hour's cleanup after this, I can absolutely assure you. Right, this is this stamp. And I want it to stamp that way. Right. I think it'll work best there. I know I'm doing that on most of them, but I'm not sure there's enough paint on here. This paint is drying out so quickly. I'm not sure that's got enough paint on it. I want a good, clean, crisp stamp. Hopefully I didn't move that. Gentle press. Perfect. That's exactly what I wanted. A bit of black on me, I don't want that on anything else. Oh, I don't want it on that tissue either. Right, this is the one with the arrows. Now, this one, I need to remind you that this is foam, so these can move, okay? So if you're going to hold it by the sides, not by this, so you're going to distort it. And also when you're pressing it down, be cautious not to wiggle those areas. So I'm going to put it this way because I like the way it up and down. So put it down, I'm going to press in the middle and gently press directly down. And up we come. That's lovely, liking that. And down to the very last one, which is the circle one. And I think I'm going to put 2 or 3 of these on here. Or like the drama of that one, I should really put an entire circle there so they can see what the whole thing looks like. And a little bit off there. I think a little bit up there as well. Oh, no. Oh. Okay, let's see if I can save that. A little bit of very quick wiping might clean that up. Sorry, not talking because I need to make sure I get this right. There you go, all saved. Whew. That's what happens when you drop a stamp. Right, that needs to go in the water. So we've pretty much done it, guys. I do need to ask your indulgence one more time because obviously I need to get everything dry, and I'm going to see if I can get this cleaned up so you can take a good look at them, which I'll be quite happy about. So I'll be back in 2. And we're done, and we're dry, and here we go. Right, before I flick through these, I need to, I keep forgetting to say this. I fully understand that I'm British based and PM Artist Studio is based in Texas. So of course there's always international shipping which drive costs up, especially in the current climate. And what I would say is I always like to remind people that throughout the year we obviously have birthdays, anniversaries, Valentine's Day, Easter, Christmas, Hanukkah, leaving presents, congratulate, all of the celebratory events. PM Artist Studio does gift cards. So if you would go there, you could advise maybe your relatives or someone looking to buy you something as a gift, point them in that direction, and you can purchase, or they can purchase, a gift card as your gift, and then you get to spend as you wish. I always forget to say that, and it's such an important thing that there are gift vouchers on their website. It really does help. It really does help. So let me have a quick look through now. There's two of these. I haven't got them in any particular order, but I really, really love these. Now, I'm wondering whether I want to outline them in black. If I do, I might just run a black marker around the edge. I'm unsure. I want to have a look at these and deal with them tomorrow, because tomorrow is when they'll get put on my website. I'll make that decision then. So that's lovely. I really like this one. Well, I like all of them. I really like that. And actually, that's another thing. I want to share a tip with you. Right, if you have stamped images, like I quite like this distressed look. If, however, you don't, if you get yourself a Posca pen, the same colour, you can just come in and fill it in, because what you'll probably find is the bit that didn't stamp, and this goes with lots of different stamps, not just foam stamps, it'll be the middle that didn't stamp, not the outer edge. So you can come in and you can change it up with that. So that's something else to bear in mind, that you can come in if you're stamping with a colour paint that you've got, or say you've got a unique colour, like I wanted this colour. If you've got the paint, you can always go in with a paintbrush and touch them up, if that's what you want to do. I like this look, as I said, but you can see it's invisible once it's done. This one, I particularly was looking forward to this one. I like that. I've got a nice delicate little piece on there. Loving this. That was always going to be one of my favourites. And of course, because it's a uniform design, you can continually add to it sideways. Don't forget, if you're going to go up or down, there's dots at both ends. So what I would say is you're never going to marry the dots up. So don't put paint on one end, and then you can just stamp on it up as you go. Circle, I love this one. That's a very useful design, that. And I could have laid them over the top of each other. Again, this was something new, and I like that because it isn't in the stencil. So that's unique to this. Oh, and that's a repeat of the other one, isn't it? So I now have to make a decision which I like best of those. It's probably going to be this one, because I don't like those two dark lines through there. So guys, thank you very much for your patience. Hopefully you enjoyed those. Something new from me. That was Colour Combo for September 2025. It was also a product launch, and hopefully you picked up some hints and tips along the way. So thanks again for your patience, and thanks for your support. And I'm Ceri the Crafter. That's Ceri the Crafter. Until next time, goodbye now.